Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Friday, August 30th, day 46 in the Big Brother 26 house. We had an eviction last night, and I know some of you only listen to me for your Big Brother updates, so I get to break the news to you that someone was evicted. Let me just tell you the play-by-play, right? We'll wait for a second here. We'll just build it up a little bit. So, yesterday in the Big Brother house, it was what it was. It was a typical day before. I couldn't get a read on necessarily who was going to go, although it did sound like Mackenzie might be the one evicted. If it came down to Mackenzie and Angela, I thought she might. And it did sound like Tucker could get evicted if Tucker was on the block. And I did say that, I think, yesterday when I was driving home. I think that's where I left you guys, and it really sounded like they may have pulled together the flip. And Chelsea kind of spearheaded it. I mean, others have brought it up in the past, but Chelsea was kind of really active the last couple of days, and Cam and her were talking. If it came up, and Chelsea was very careful about, we don't even want to broach it until it's like the last minute, but they kind of worked out that it was a doable thing, right? They showed that on last night's TV show, that it could be a thing that could happen. We also saw on last night's TV show the Angela Tucker, the confrontation where we did see Tucker got up and walked away right when the Power Veto meeting was over, so he didn't listen to that. We didn't see Tucker saying, I just want to quit, I'm done, I'm going home, all of that kind of stuff. We also didn't see the confrontation where Angela tried to talk to Tucker later and said, you've lied to me, and Tucker says, I was always there for you, but then at the end he got up and stormed out and said, you had a guaranteed final three or top three, or however he said it, which was like, wait a minute, you were saying she was your number, you were taking her to the end, it's like, that's number three, that's not your final two, which is kind of what he'd been implying. So that to me, and I've commented on this before, was kind of like okay. Tucker was taking Angela as far as he needed to take Angela, and that's how you play the game. You tell people what they need to hear, what they want to hear, but then if plans change, you just go, yep, got to get rid of them. That's how you play the game. I am not holding it over Tucker's head. I am not saying he played badly. I'm not saying he lied. They all lie. And that's what you do. You tell everybody, I'm with you until you can't be anymore. You just don't say that second part. And every once in a while you do have a ride or die, someone that you're willing to throw away your game for. That's the problem, is that when you have that, somebody ends up generally throwing away their game for the other person, right? Some could say that he did that for Romina this week, potentially. Okay, so they showed all that stuff. The AI Arena, we had seen the teaser. I think I talked about it. I did. Talked about the dyslexia that Tucker apparently has. I didn't think that would be a problem. I don't know if that was an issue last night in the actual competition or not. But they started out in the arena, or they came time for the arena competition. They all looked focused and ready to go. It was quite a moment when they lined up before the commercial, where they had them all tight shots of the three of them standing side. They weren't standing side by side, but they had three camera shots, so they smashed them side by side, and it was like, okay, they're quite intense. And came back from commercial. Julie said, are you ready? The competition only lasted a minute and a half, and I did actually tweet the entire competition. I recorded it and tweeted it out there. So if you haven't seen it, if you don't want to wade through the show and you want to see the competition, you can go onto my timeline and look into my media, and you'll find the minute and a half long video showing the competition. I honestly haven't watched it very closely because I was typing while it was on, which is something I can't touch type, so I generally look at my keys a lot. You'd think I could by this point, but I don't necessarily. And so I was half watching, but I was kind of like, the first thing that happened immediately was, and they have Tucker in the center, which is where he was for the last puzzle competition. Tucker grabs a piece, runs over to the so there's a long row and these blocks had to fit in this row in an order. You had to put them in the right pieces had to go in the right place. They had numbers on them, and you had to take those numbers once they were all lined up, the 10 numbers, and then go grab another piece, a long thing. There was like 20 of them on a shelf. You had to grab the right one and put it in a slot, and then you pressed your button. So that's the steps you had to go through. So he starts grabbing the pieces and starts putting them on the shelf thing, and it was like he put it in backwards. He put it in facing the number. There was a number on one side of this puzzle, and he put it on facing the opposite direction than both Angela and Mackenzie did, and that Julie did when she did it. So when Julie did it, it was very obvious, like, oh, you see this number when you put it in. I didn't know what the purpose of the number was at the time. I wasn't quite understanding it, but I was like, oh, that's what the number's for. And immediately you saw that he put it the wrong way, and that was my first time to see he's putting it in backwards. And the piece kind of fit, but not perfect. So the first piece he tried, he kind of found a place where he could put it in backwards and it fit. And then it was like, is he throwing this competition? Is it not that obvious that it's not going in right? And I think it's one of those things, he was in his mindset and he just thought this is the way it goes. And I'm not going to say he panicked, but he said later on that he did it wrong. He did it backwards. So Mackenzie dominated. She blew through it quick. She got it done, got out of it. Angela actually had quite a few pieces done by the time Angela pressed her button. But Angela won. No, sorry, Angela won. Mackenzie won. Angela was in second, and Tucker was a distant third. I think he kind of realized at one point, was like, I've done this wrong. And he said, I put the pieces in backwards. So Tucker did not win his competition. And contrary to his story, he's like, he didn't like this puzzle. So they came back inside. I think the house was stunned in some fashion, but they still did the cheering. Angela immediately went into, I want to stay, because now it's going to be Tucker versus Angela to vote, which is one of the scenarios that I said Tucker could go home. This could be it for Tucker. They do their pleas, but their pleas, once again, it was very similar to other times where Tucker's been like, you don't want to do that. You want to keep me. He just, or you want to vote out the strongest player is what he's always said, right? Tucker's not saying that this time. Tucker's like, yeah, guys, I don't want to say it. Hope you respect what I've done for some of you. He was trying to call in those favors. Tucker was all about reminding people, I've done things for all of you. Guess what? They didn't care. They did not. It was not going to be one of those, you've done favors for me. Angela was, I just want to stay. Give me another week. I'll be here. And that was what went on. And the house guests all kind of went to the back bedroom, and Angela and Tucker were kind of following around chanting, and they kind of shut him out. They're kind of like, nope, you guys go out there. We're going to talk as a group. We didn't see it. We'll see it Sunday night, I'm sure. What all they talked about in that back bedroom, we don't know, because Angela and Tucker were out in the front. Angela's saying, I love you, Tucker, and they were hugging and everything, and yeah, it's going to be okay. And so they were just consoling each other, in a way, while everybody else was in the back bedroom. And Julie finally made them come out, and then they proceeded to start the vote, which is kind of funny because she forced them all to go sit down, and then only 2 of them voted, and they're not allowed to talk, during the commercials. So they just had to sit there with only 2 of them having voted. I think Rabina was the first, and Chelsea was the second. And Rabina was, of course, I'm going to vote Angela. And Chelsea was very excitedly, I'm voting out Tucker. So we had a 1-1 tie going into the commercial. Came back from the commercial. I can't tell you the order. But in the end, Chemo voted for Angela to go. Joseph voted for Angela to go. So I think for a hot minute it was 3-3, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. Are we going to have a tie? We could have had a tie vote, which Takor would have had to break. But no, as it turned out, everybody else voted for Tucker to go. And so it was 5-3 for Tucker to get evicted. The 3 people that voted for Angela were Rabina, Chemo, and Joseph. Joseph was almost in tears when all this stuff was going on. He was quite broken up. I think he knew that Tucker was going. But they both like these people, by the way. There's no malice. These guys all get along. There isn't a level of dislike among them, to the best of my knowledge. So it wasn't anything mean. It was kind of like, wow, this is going to be different, without Tucker in the house, and it is going to be different without Tucker in the house. So Tucker voted out. A lot of emotional hugging, big kisses for Ramina. She was devastated, you could tell. But Tucker put on a brave face, went out, hugged Julie, and then Julie proceeded to talk to him about who voted for him and who didn't vote for him. And that right there is the tell that there ain't going to be a battle back. There ain't going to be a Tucker walking back into that house, not even an opportunity, and Tucker ain't going to jury. So there is that immediately told us 7-person jury expected, and no battle back yet. Now, again, I had the one source that kind of said there would be a battle back and there would be a pressure cooker this year, and I still haven't heard anything. So I kind of threw it out there, and I may have to eat my words, which is okay. It was in early July when that came out, before the season started, so it could be that they changed their mind. I'm really surprised, though. I am really surprised they didn't hold on to Tucker and try to get him back into the house, just for the viewing, whether or not he stood a chance of winning, just for the entertainment purposes, because they took a huge hit with Tucker going out of the house tonight, or last night. Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be different from my view, too. And I will put on a brave face and say, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be exciting. Yeah, but Tucker was a lot. And Angela's going to be not nearly as tolerated, because Tucker did kind of stand up for her in his way, because he was motivated to keep her. I mean, it was to his best interest, but that still meant he kept her around. So, yeah, Angela's going to... I'm not saying she's going to be out this coming week, but it could be, right? It's very possible. There's nobody going to be fighting that hard to keep her around going forward. Tucker was the biggest one. But Tucker's reason was because he just was trying to hold on to her as long as he could, because he knew she was an easy out. And so he was working on the harder outs. His time ran out before he got to get Angela out. So Angela, much to the Facebook fandom, is in the house yet again for another week. There was no mention by Julie about jury. There was no mention about battle back. She said that Ainsley is the AI thing, remember, is going to have a big announcement next Thursday. It could be jury. It could be a battle back. They are doing another three nominees. Again, AI Arena is around for another week. So that means, and I kind of messed this up when I said this last night, but that means that the head of household will technically have to potentially nominate 4 people out of 8. Right? There's I'm going to do the math here now. Wait, we're down to 10. No, we're down to damn it. Yeah, we're down to 9 people. There's 9 people left in the house. And no, there's 10. Gosh darn it. Hang on. I got to do a mental thing. I'm going to pause for half a second. I'll be right back. Yes, there's 10 people left in the house. That's where you'd end up with 2 finalists and 8 juries. That doesn't work. You're not going to have 8, because unless they give America a vote. Now, you know what? It could be an 8-person jury. Never say never. It could be an 8-person jury. And Julie doesn't always announce to them you've made it to the jury. So let's say it's never say never, not potential. They may give America a vote. They've done it before. So let's just leave it at that. That there is a potential for a jury announcement, including the next evictee. But likely it's a 7-person jury. Yeah. So which means they need one more evicted person to go out. Again, they could hold these people out, though, and give them a shot to get back into the house in a battle back situation. Or they may take the first couple jurors and give one of them a shot to back in the house. There's a couple of ways they can still do a battle back. It's still all, the options are still open, and I don't know what AI Arena, what Ainsley is going to say. It could just be the arena's over, It could be we're at jury. It could be something completely different. So we'll just have to see. The show ended. I haven't watched the exit interview afterwards. That'll be posted later today if it hasn't already been posted. And Tucker's goodbyes. Tucker's going to be out in the wild, out in the world. I did see someone posted, I think Autumn, that I follow, posted clips of both Cedric and Brooklyn watching Mackenzie win the AI arena, and they were both very excited for her when it happened. That was kind of funny to see. And although it was very weird to watch Cedric sitting on a couch by himself, it almost seemed like he wasn't with anybody. It was just him on a couch. He was live streaming the camera on himself while he watched TV, which people do because they don't want to stream the show. Brooklyn's stream was a camera. I don't think she was a stream. I think she just recorded the camera really far away from the TV, watching it with one of her kids, and her husband went out and high-fived her after Mackenzie won. So, yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. And so the feeds were off. They never came back until a little bit after 8, right before 8, right after 8 p.m. Big Brother time, which is right before 11 p.m. Right before 11 p.m. Eastern time is when it came back. I actually posted the video, the little 4-minute video of the house guests that were left talking. Nothing was major was learned. They were all just sitting around talking, a couple of different camera angles. I posted it, didn't learn anything but wanted to share. And then the feeds didn't come back on until I think 1 a.m. And I was not watching anymore at that point. I'd kind of given up and gone to bed because I thought it could have been even longer. Because they hadn't done they had a household when the videos came on back for 4 minutes. So the HOH competition was held. It was apparently some kind of a competition they've done in the past. It was a known competition, but I don't know exactly which one it was. But it was one that the house guests seemed familiar with. I did see something about eggs, so we know that could apply to at least, eggs immediately makes me think of the chicken egg one, where they have to put their fingers through. But we don't know. Or at least I don't know yet. The winner of the head of household is Quinn. Quinn is your new head of household. So, what does that mean in the early stages? Because we are at the early stages. They are actually still up this morning, or they were up this morning the last I saw. And I don't, I haven't. I've seen bits and pieces of their talks. And I think, first of all, I think Quinn knows who voted for Tucker to stay. So he knows who wasn't on board with the plan to get rid of Tucker, or if they were, they still didn't want to do it, and that would be Rabina, Chemo, and Joseph. It's possible that Joseph knew that Tucker was going and wanted to throw him a bone. Don't know. The house guests did seem to be excited, saying some of them seem to be excited like we made jury. So I don't know if they were told they made jury or if they just think they had to have made jury. This was and Quinn was one of these. Okay, so it was Quinn. I can't remember who else. Quinn was Quinn and maybe Joseph, maybe Leah. I think it was Quinn, Joseph, and Leah. Basically, Quinn is guaranteed not to go this week, and if he knows if they and you would say, well, jury's got to be starting after this next eviction. So by celebrating with Joseph and Leah, he's implying those two are safe, right? Technically, they could be. I mean, Joseph could be a pawn. I got sidetracked on that. I didn't talk about the 4 versus the how many. Quinn could potentially have to nominate 4 people, right? And there's only 8 people to pick from. So half the house could potentially have to be nominated before the week's over. And I mistakenly said all of them could be on all the 4 people he nominated could be on the jury. Unless if there's a battle back, yes. But if there's no battle back, no, one of the 4 people he could potentially have to nominate would be the one not on the jury, the one that gets evicted. But still, it's a lot to have to go through with that many people in the house. I realize it's only one more than 3, but every number counts. And you're in theory, it just seems to me to be potentially having to nominate half the house when you've got 9 people left in the house is a lot, right? So it sounds like, and you have to take it with a grain of salt again. But I think he's going to end up putting up Angela, who didn't vote for Tucker to go, or who did vote for Tucker to go, but is Angela, and does not have a super close relationship with Quinn. Rabina, with the understanding that you're not my target, but you were definitely working, with Tucker, so you're kind of guilt by association, and maybe Chemo. So, yeah, Chemo's the one who outed. Remember, Chemo's the one who outed Quinn's power to Tucker, right? I think Quinn knows that. So I'm not saying that Quinn cited that as a reason, but it does imply that Chemo is definitely not as close to Quinn as he was to Tucker. And that shows in the vote, too, that Chemo wasn't going to vote Tucker out. So, Tucker's out. Quinn had a household. Oh, there are have-nots, too, and it sounds like it was determined by some way in the head of household competition. And that is Chemo and, I think, Mackenzie. Quinn has also implied to Mackenzie that she is safe this week. So whether that's true or not, and whether somebody goes up as a pawn, you can tell everybody they're safe. But let's say he nominates Angela, Rubina, and Chemo. He still has to have another person that could potentially go up. So he doesn't have that many choices after that. He's told Cam they're safe, Chelsea she's safe, Leah, Joseph. Somebody's going to have to go up as a pawn, right? If he has to do that, if somebody wins power veto and saves themselves or saves somebody else, say Jakor wins and she saves Chemo, right? Well, then Jakor can't go up. So then you're talking one of those people that he's told is safe is going to have to go up, and that does not mean that a houseman will go, let's get him out now. Let's keep Angela for another week. Or Angela saves herself, right? So, and then he has to go with somebody. Then you'd say Rabina would be in danger. But is she really going to be in danger by the end of the week? Or are they going to go after a bigger comp threat and say, no, let's get out the bigger comp threat? There's all kinds of permutations, and we got a week to figure this out. So, that's what's up. That's where we're at. I'm sorry that Tucker's gone. For those of you that are never going to watch the show again because Tucker's out or whatever, the people that, yeah, okay, go ahead. Say that, do that. It's not all about one person on a show, and you have to expect they're going to go. But most of you all know that. You've been around the block once or twice. That's what's up. I'm going to sign off. I will talk to you this afternoon when we have our nominations more locked in. But again, very likely sounds like it's going to be Rubina, Chemo, and Angela. That's where we'll probably be this afternoon, and we'll have some more fallout from the discussions and more idea about where Quinn's head is at and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you about it when I talk this afternoon, because I will talk to you. I'll definitely update you this afternoon. We'll update again this weekend and everything, all that good stuff. Good stuff too. All right. Thanks everybody. Have a good day. And we'll talk to you later on today. All right. Be well. Bye-bye.